Rivky, thank you so much for being here.
I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome. I would love to hear like who you are, your story, like how you got into this work. It's all fascinating.
Yeah.
And it happens to be trending. Like it's like in now, somatics,
Yeah.
and like people really want to hear all about it. So tell me, like how you grew up. Like take me back.
Take you back. Okay. There's like so many different ways that I can go, but I think I'll go in one way and then we'll
We'll get into it.
We'll get into it. So after I graduated high school, I started off working with children with developmental delays and autism and things like that. I went to Camp Simcha for a few years also, so I really, really enjoyed working with kids. School was not my thing. I was smart. I was always smart, but I couldn't.
Yeah, you just didn't see the point.
I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't see the point in all the rules
Yeah.
and in all. And as I started working, I started literal oxygen started coming into my bones. I was like, I was doing something I was good at. I felt proud of myself. I was thinking of these new ways to help these children that the industry and like the world hadn't been working with children with autism in those kinds of ways. It was a lot more behavioral, and I was helping them in much
So you
more.
felt alive.
I felt alive, but I also learned as I was helping them like develop a sense of self and develop a sense of their life. I also learned that I am not regulated.
You were like, wait, I'm teaching what I'm not.
I'm teaching what I'm absolutely not.
Wow.
So I hired one of my mentors at the time that I worked with online to be my therapist. And we went back from year 0 and we did developmental therapy, the kind of therapy that I was doing with children with autism and developmental delays on me.
That's wild.
And
that's so cool that you saw that and like took initiative and went for it.
Yeah, I think I was born with like a certain of that like maturity and also drive for life. Right. And I'd been through some difficult things, and it was like the way to take my life back. And my life started coming back into me. It's like as if my neshama, my soul, started coming back.
You were like breathing.
I was breathing again. There was like excitement. There was aliveness. There was drive. And then I started learning a lot about other healing modalities just for myself. So I traveled the world. I went to different trainings. I was the youngest one in these trainings by far.
How old were you?
18, 19.
Oh, wow.
Like I was in these trainings, and I was learning and drinking. It's like as if I was like drinking.
It was like you woke up again.
Yeah, I was like drinking everything and absorbing. And when I was in school, like I could barely learn. I was learning.
Wow.
I went to social work school, thought I was going to be working with kids forever, and this healing thing was going to be like my side hobby that nobody knew about.
Right.
And then one day I worked with a friend who was a lot older than me. We were hanging out, and at the time I was into doing yoga and meditating every day. I'm a lot less strict with my halachas.
Yeah.
But we did, and I was very strict about it. And I asked her if she wanted to do some yoga and meditation with me, and she said yeah. And I practiced some of the things that I had learned on her. And 2 things happened. She struggled with infertility for many years, and she got her period very soon after. And she had this really extreme pain in her back and her hip for a long time that dissipated. And
what'd you do?
I did some body work and energy work with her, and then that was the time that I learned that I had, like, Hashem had given me a gift with my hands. And I always knew that, like, I was sensitive and intuitive, and I am also an artist. I do paint, and like I knew that I had a gift with my hands and energy, but I didn't know in that way per se. And she not only started sending me her clients, but she also started referring me to her colleagues. So at some point I was getting calls from therapists and rabbis and people who are like, can you work with me? Can you work with me? Can you work with me? And that's kind of where all of this started.
Wow. And that was like at 19?
Something like that.
So you were doing this for a while?
Yes.
Like,
yeah. Wow. Privately, because I was working with kids for a while. And then once I transitioned to working with just the work that I'm doing now, took some time because I was like still holding on to the way that I was doing things. But now I don't work as a social worker, even though I do have a degree in social work. It's like,
Did you ever work as a social worker? I feel like so many people are like that.
I don't know if I could even say that I ever really, really did.
So what's funny, when we got married, my husband, we were like, okay, what are you going to go for? Like, what are you going to do? And he's like, I want to work with people. I'm like, no, you should really work alone. You're great in computers. Like, to go on the computer. He's like, no, I'm so good with, I need people. Like, I need to like be helping people. I'm like, okay. Then this program, LMSW thing came up. It was all men's program. He's like, I'm just going to do this. Like, it just makes sense. I'm like, okay, like, no, it doesn't. But go for it.
I love that he did it even though you told him not to.
I'm like, because we were still young, and he's still like that till today. Like, he'll be like, you were right. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. I'm like, when will you remember? When will you just know? Anyway, so he went for it. And through the time when he was paying for school, he got a job in mortgages to just cover the like tuition. And then, long story short, he never left mortgages, and he has a LMSW, and which is nice.
His wife knows.
And his wife, oh my gosh, yeah, it's just so funny. In the end of the day, we both went for degrees, and we both don't use them. We both were paying student loans back for the stupid degrees that we never used. But the point is that he still does use his LMSW kind of when he works with clients, like people need to be heard and whatever. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know, it's just so funny. Like
that is hilarious, and I'll tell you something, like, I think the thing that I learned mostly in social work school is about boundaries, because I find that some people are working in a more holistic healing space. They don't necessarily have such great boundaries, and I've learned about boundaries.
It's very hard.
And I've also learned about ways how to not have boundaries, because in social work school we were taught it's important to respect your clients, but I really believe it's important to love your clients. And that's something that I...
Yeah, but the love part could be complicated, because then the boundaries come in and you don't want to do it. I feel that also. Like,
exactly.
Sometimes when I coach people, like I go over and like I my initial inclination is to be like, oh, don't pay me the full amount. Right. And they'll be like, you didn't send me your payment info. I'm like, oh, in my head, I'm like, oh, it's fine. And I'm like, it's because it's not fine. No. Like, that's not boundaries. Like, that's not okay.
Yeah. And like, the thing with not being a social worker is that you have to learn embodied boundaries, like the ones that come from your insides.
Right.
And that's what you get. You have the like opportunity for growth now to learn as a coach. Yeah. And I didn't even know you were a coach, so can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So basically I do this because I'm so into astrology and the signs, what I do is I basically take your birth chart and we like delve into it, your kohos, your your shadow sides, all the parts, and then based on what they have like challenges with, where they're not sure, crossroads, whatever, they need some guidance, we basically work with your birth chart, and everything's there in black and white. So it's like, oh yeah, you were going for hair, but you also really love being in nursing school, so like, which one should you focus on? How should you could implement the two? What are you really underneath? What's the core? And like, once you figure out like the core of who you are, everything can be so much more streamlined, and like things just fall away. It's like, oh, I shouldn't have been focusing on that. That was like so unnecessary. And it just like, just could take away years of like struggle and years of confusion. And it just like sets you on a path.
Wow.
And also, like, I saw a video with Ripshay's Tab the other day, and someone said like, how do I find my purpose? And he's like, you don't necessarily find your purpose. You just have to like do the next thing the next day, like put your next foot forward, just do. Yeah. And when you do, you will be on a journey, you will be on a road to go somewhere. And so like, that's what I do with clients. It's kind of like hand holding, like pushing them to just do the next thing. And like through them and me together, we can co-create something, but I don't know. Also, in your chart, it doesn't say exactly what you're going to do. It just gives you your potential. It gives you like, this is your container. So like, yeah, someone could be like, but Jews are above Mazel, right? Like, how does that work? I'm like, yeah. So it's like a mida. Like, you couldn't necessarily, you could work on it, but it doesn't mean that you will. And then we do have a certain structure in which every single soul was stamped with. Like, that's who you are. Could you go into a next level of consciousness? Of course. It's like saying, I'm a Leo. It's like, okay, that's like saying I'm purple. Like, are you lavender? Are you lilac?
Right.
Like, there's so many different shades, And like, everyone's spiced up a little different. So yes, it's real. Yes, there's so much to it. And like, there's so much for our benefit that we could use.
I also love that, I love astrology in the sense that each astrologer is also, it feels to me is also like a certain kind of artist, because each of us see the world through such a different way. And even the way that we will articulate it will land in someone's like body or someone's soul or experience differently.
Totally.
And I can so see how that is its own really unique art.
100%.
Yeah.
I know.
I really appreciate, because we're like meeting for the first time, so I'm going to tell you what I appreciate about you. But I really appreciate, I haven't followed you much till recently, but I had known about your art for a while. I bought my friend a beautiful box of art that you created for her birthday last year.
Oh, wow.
I think something that you're bringing to the world, which feels really, really unique, is the beautiful and also simple way in which you share your message that only you can, that like it has no choice in my experience but to land.
Oh, wow.
And I think that there are so many people in this world, especially like Jewish women, especially from women, who are inhibited or suppressed in their expression, specifically, and don't really see expression. I could cry, but like don't really see expression modeled to them in a way that they can actually like pick it up in a way that also like allows their humanity. You allow your humanity in the space, play. Not beauty without perfectionism.
Right, curiosity.
Yeah, there's so much of that you're bringing to the table, and like I feel like so many people want to be more brave, and like you're really, really modeling what brave expression looks like.
That's so nice. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's so validating. It's funny. My cousin was texting me the other day. She's like, you know what's like so good and like so annoying about you? She's like, it's that. She's like, this is why. She's like, you don't care. She's like, you'll just pivot. If something doesn't work out, you just go. And like, you could just show people that it's fine. You fail, but fail is it's actually you succeeding. She's like, there's always something. You're always trying. You're always like whatever. And it's true. Like, that's, I think, what being an artist is. Like, I was just saying this yesterday on camera. Like, you have a blank canvas and then you paint on it and then there's a mistake.
Yes.
And then the only thing you need to do, it's really not a big deal. People always ask me, so what happens if you make a mistake? I'm like, I paint over it.
Right.
That's it. Like, and I think that we have to do that in life also. Like, just paint, be messy, paint, just start, just make a mess, paint outside the lines, and then if anything, you would just paint over it. You know, and people have a very, very hard time with that. It's very scary for people to make a mistake, to make a mess. It's not even that they are scared to make a mess. It's they don't even know they're allowed to make a mess.
100%. And perfectionism is the biggest inhibitor of expression. Maybe ever. Like it's like that self-judgment that like.
And I also think what you said in our community, in the frum world, it's very, very potent. This feeling of like, I think it feels very polarizing what I'm doing, because it's like she's doing it, and like some people are like, I need to get in there, I need to but then some people are like, she's triggering me. Like, why is she being so weird? Like,
isn't it wild that you being yourself is polarizing?
It's very polarizing. I see it more and more from random people I hear, and even from some family members. Like, it feels very like, could she just stop? Sit down. Like, no. Why are you showing us all your colors? It's like, but I've never been happier. Like, you just feel so embodied, so embodied. Like I'm not thinking about me. I just am me.
And that's, you just like, you just literally embodied what embodiment is. It's like, it's not this 3-step somatic process that you could learn in a workshop.
Right, we have to think about it and like, write notes about it.
And then
but what
remember
did you say? What was the next thing?
Exactly. I always tell people on all my retreats and all my classes, I'm like, you can write notes because I'm not in charge of you, but it's highly not recommended.
Right.
Because however
just
it lands in you is what it is.
Yeah. Exactly. There's not really. That's what I find also. Like, I used to give some painting classes back in the day, and also it was so stressful because everyone kept asking me to stop and like. Well, I missed that step. And I'm like, okay, I understand that like it's intimidating and like it's different, but like there's no steps. Yeah. Like you could you could do your thing and it's okay. You know, like even when we did the paint by number, the other, like we had an event, people still were like, what colors? Like,
what colors should I do?
It's literally a color by number. Like you could do the colors or do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, but it's very, very hard. We're very creative and very uninhibited and natural as kids. And then slowly, we really learn it just gets snuffed out, and it's so sad.
Conform, suppress, it's just, it just gets snuffed out. I know this is like such a simple thing to say, but it just feels so profound for me in my body. Like, I don't think there's anything more fun and more exciting than being ourselves. Like, life becomes so much more simple.
Right.
It just becomes so much more simple.
And I find that when you don't listen to yourself, I think, really, to me, this is the reason why there's so much unhappiness and why things are so misaligned and topsy-turvy. Like, you don't listen to yourself, you hear the whispers inside, and you shut them down, and you just become resentful, bitter, angry, you vibrate low, and things just don't work out in your life. They just literally repel away from you because you're really not vibrating in a good space.
Yeah.
And I just think that the more, even if we listen to ourselves and it's scary and you have to jump into the unknown or you're going to lose people, you end up just vibrating higher, so things just fall into place.
100%.
You know?
100%.
Did you find that in your life?
100%. It's like, I feel in every single area that I am myself and that I move from my soul alignment, I see prosperity. And from there are people who ask me all the time, Rivky, how, because I do have a very successful and full practice, and
wow.
I do live a life of a lot of abundance, and people ask me often, like, how do you create that? There are many practitioners out there in the world right now, especially doing similar things, not exactly the same, because I am moving from my soul and they are moving from theirs, that I'm doing. And people are trying to attract things, fill up their groups, create possibilities for themselves. And things are moving with ease for me. And it's not because it's always been easy, and it's not because I've always been in this space, but the more I am, the less I'm like saying, I'm going to help you with this modality, and the more I'm just being me, and knowing that being myself is the greatest medicine that I can give to the world, because I can model to you and to them that you can be yourself too. Right. And that brings in so much blessing, so much blessing into my life, so much ease in business. My assistant told me last week, we were getting ready for a class, and I was like, it would be so fun if 20 more people joined, and then like a few minutes before the class there was that, and she's like, it's so fun to be in this frequency. I love it. She's like, it's so fun to be in this frequency with you.
I always hear that, where it's like when you just put something out, like everyone, we live with so much like anxiety, fear, and doubt, and that's like the natural way that pulls us down. Yes. And it's always like, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? And then it's like, what if that happens? Like, what if something amazing happens? Yeah, and like to start talking like that and just like be there, and like have fun with yourself, and like just like make things up that you wish. Yeah. We don't allow ourselves time to wish, and it's also the play thing, actually playing, it's also playing in our head. Yes. Like just imagining, dreaming. Yes. And like it's like, what are you saying? Yeah, and there's something like that I find is super important, which I've moved through and also help my clients move through, which is that the trauma vortex, right? It's for whatever we've been through, and as a society, as a culture, as a religion, as individuals, is a lot. And the trauma vortex is very narrow. Like, think about when we're triggered, right? It's like really, really hard to think about anything else. Right? It's like something triggered us, something activated us, and all we can see is like that narrow passageway. And the field of abundance is infinite. It's actually the complete opposite of the trauma vortex, which is why, however you look at it, whether it's Kabbalistically or through the lens of trauma, there's the thing that's blocking the flow. But instead of, bypassing it, pretending it doesn't exist, trying to go around it, crushing it, suppressing it, right? Those are all things that we might have tried as a culture, as a society, as individuals. Like, really learning to be with it
and not be afraid of it. Really learning to integrate it, really learning to feel what we feel when we feel it, really learning to use those things as fuel to move into the field of abundance. Like I tell my clients in a Brooklyn accent a lot, like never waste a good trigger, you know? It's like moving into the through those things, we can move over and over and over and over and over and over and over again into that field of abundance where abundance is literally infinite. And we can access that by using our trauma as our greatest gift.
It's our tool. I would love to get into more of this trauma talk.
Of course, absolutely.
So how did you like find your place there? Like what like did you go through anything as a kid? Like tell us.
Beautiful. So yes, definitely went through like some significant challenges as a child, and it ran the gamut, like from things that were more like public to things that were more like internal, like things that I struggled with more inside, like bigger traumas and also developmental traumas, like things that I received and things that I didn't receive. And for me, it's been a journey of working with these modalities and like working with these ways of healing. And thank God I've trained in, I'm a hypnotherapist, somatic therapist. I do body work with people, breath work, inner child type work, and energy work, which is like quantum healing work. We can get more into it a little bit soon, and more. Family constellations. There's a lot of different kinds of healing modalities that I use with my clients. But what I think has been the most impactful thing that I've created over the past year or so, even though there's nothing new under the sun, is this. I've gained a really deep insight, and I have a really deep gift of understanding when people need to move into feeling, like when there's very much in their mind and they need to learn how to feel, how to embody, how to bring up the expression that's been suppressed, how to work with their feelings and emotions, and when it's time for them to start creating. Because I find that some people get stuck in the trauma spiral and even in healing work, where healing can become another addiction, similar to any addiction that exists. It becomes
like a crutch.
It becomes like a crutch, and it also becomes something that people aren't creating around. They're like, 1 second, I need to process this with my therapist this week, and I need to process this with my therapist next week. But there's so many gifts living inside of each of us, so much for us to create and so much for us to express imperfectly, that when we can stop processing, we can start integrating and being. And it's like this process of moving, I call it, instead of trauma healing, like trauma renegotiation. It's how do we know when it's time to, everybody needs to be seen and witnessed and held and felt and loved and cared for in order to move to that next stage. But I look at it like, you know, when you get a pedicure, there's like a callus machine, and when they take off the callus, then you have soft feet. But what happens if you use the callus machine too much? You start to bleed. And it's like this tool that's so good for people can start to be so challenging for people. So I work with people who are, you know, who need to heal, but I also work with very, very even successful creators to move into states of being. I work with corporations that are really large, that are run by heart-centered leaders. So the work is running the gamut from trauma to creating to being. So I get to like be in all of my loves at the same time, or in the same days. That. And I'm doing a lot of different things. So I'm working with people one-on-one. I'm running retreats. Our next one is actually in Italy. Wow. And I'll tell you about it, but it's going to be in November. And it combines like luxury and beautiful things with like some of the deepest inner work that people have ever done. So it really gives that.
I do think that luxury is part of it.
Me too, and that's how I feel. It's like everything is connected. It's the way that we dress. It's the flowers that we put on our table. It's the things that we cook. It's the ways that we walk through the world. That is who we are.
Right, it's all our senses.
Yes. So it's like I hire a really amazing chef, and I'm super into the details. I love making life into art, and the way that, and then I get to teach courses, so like use that part of myself that loves to teach. And I run these groups that I've created called Medicine Without Medicine.
That's so cool.
Which, everybody's doing ayahuasca and plant medicine, and there are people who either don't want to do it because they don't know, like they might be afraid of what they will find, or there's people who
I want to do it, but I don't want to do it because I'm scared because I have 6 kids. And like, let's say I get tripped and like, I don't know, it just freaks me out.
So medicine, I've created a way through hypnosis, through so a certain kinds of somatic work and energy work for people to touch psychedelic states without psychedelics
that makes so much sense.
In these 7-hour journeys. So it's like similar amount of time to a ceremony. And people have wild psychedelic shifts
through your hypnosis,
through the Medicine Without Medicine journeys. Yeah, so that's something else that I've been doing.
That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that I'm up to in that space. Yeah,
that's so cool. And then what do you do with the quantum energy thing?
Okay, so I find that like trauma healing also, remember, it's responding to the trauma vortex, and in the whole entire world is so large, like we're talking about, and there is healing that has to be done with like precision of a surgeon, and it's like, especially for our hearts, like our hearts are so tender and have been through so much, and like it needs that like tender, loving care, and there are shifts that get to also happen in a moment. And quantum healing, energy healing brings in those shifts that like we can bring in the perspective that there are many frequencies taking place at the exact same time and many different dimensions of reality. And there are always more than one way to respond to something, to feel about something, to be with something.
The Rimon is the symbol of abundance. The sages teach that just as it's filled with seeds, every soul is filled with goodness. Even when you feel empty, you're already overflowing. True abundance isn't there to chase, it's within you. You don't find it, you embody it. And when you embody it, the blessings flow.
So in the quantum healing work, what we're doing is orienting people to the actual reality in the here and now it's really difficult to explain in words, but very, very easy to understand in resonance and in experiencing it. It's not esoteric or like woo-woo or like, I don't know what just happened. Like you will know what happened, but it's difficult for me to explain with like verbal language. But if you are to experience it, you will understand fully what I mean. And people experience wild shifts on the inside that then create incredible shifts on the outside because they're in a new frequency. So the people around them, their life around them starts responding to them in different ways.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about this like analogy. I don't even know what they are, but there's like these toys when I was a kid that like you press it and like it's like a helicopter thing and it just goes like it flies in the air. And I was just like imagining it's like literally imagine like a helicopter, like one thing just like orbiting, and then like there's basically we're all like a zillion of these like orbiting things all around, and like we're everywhere. So like what does that mean? Like attracts like your vibe attracts your tribe. Like the amount that you're orbiting, like how fast you're going, you're just going to attract other ones to come near you. And then if you're not going fast, you'll just start falling. And then there's like less of them over here or the same amount. But like wherever you are, as you know, you're just going to attract other ones that are the same. I love the way you think. I know. I'm such a retard now, I think. Like I go to sleep. So cool. I go to sleep and like, this is what I think about. I'm like, and then I wake up in the morning, I'm like, was that like a normal thought? Like, should I talk about it?
I was talking to my friend on the phone this morning. We have this...
No, like this is literally in my mind.
I was talking. My friend and I, we have these calls on Thursday mornings where we talk about. We give each other like kind of like business advice.
That's amazing.
And we have a standing call every Thursday morning. So I was talking to her this morning, and one of the things I told her, I said something about using your defense mechanism as your ally, whatever, like something like really, and I just started, I was getting into my car to come to your house, and I just started cracking up. I almost fell on the floor in my driveway because I was laughing so hard. And she's like, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "I'm just insane."
That's hilarious.
I'm like,
it's so good
what am I saying?
You could crack yourself up. That's amazing.
Like, what am I saying, and why am I saying it, and how did we get here?
That's hilarious. Let's say someone comes to you that she did experience trauma.
Yes.
And like what would be the first step? Like, how do you work her through? Because I find that a lot of times people want to do the spiritual work and they want to like get there, and they're like, oh, higher consciousness. Yeah, let's think better thoughts.
Yeah.
But like, if you experience trauma and it's in your body, it's very hard to just go to the mind.
Yes. So we grew up in societies, I don't know about you, but I know for myself and many of my clients, and many from women and people in particular, I work with men as well, grew up in societies where there's a lot of spiritual bypassing, which is using spirituality to bypass our real feelings. I know you know that, but I'm just saying it for whoever might not.
No, I love talking about it because I just don't think it's spoken about enough.
Yeah.
And like everything
And that's what you just pointed to.
Yeah,
right?
everything is masked into like, let's just, when we first got married, actually, my husband did it, and he started going there, and I was like, okay, we have a few things to talk about. First of all, I can do whatever I want. Second of all, my God, your God's your God.
Yeah.
Third of all, if I go to hell, it's fine. I'll just wave to you. Right. Leave me alone. I'm not, this is not, I said, this is control masked in religion, and we're stopping it right now.
You were able to say that right away?
The first day.
I am so impressed by that.
I'm like, we are not doing this right now. And then there was one thing, because I only fast Tisha B'Av and Yom Kippur. Yeah. Because that's what I want to do. Yeah. And when we got married, I don't know, it was like one of the first fasts, and my husband was probably a Teves, and because we got married in October, and my husband was like, "You're not fasting?" And I'm like, "No, I don't have to." Yeah. And he was like, "Yeah, but you're not pregnant, whatever." I think I even was, but whatever, besides the point. And I'm like, "Okay, let's go ask the Rav." Like, I don't care. And then we asked, and he said, "Listen to your wife. She's 100% right." Wow. So like, he got put in his place like day one. But my point is that I did find that a lot of times, like, comes from the yeshiva system. I don't know where, but it's like, let's hold on to religion because that's how we could like coerce, manipulate, get things to like everything should just like work out a certain way and fall into place. And it's
There's
just
a
like,
lot of fear.
It's just wrong.
There's
like,
a lot of fear.
Yeah, that's not the point. That's right. It's totally not what God wants. Like, we are not. And also I find a lot of times that like there's so many arguments in homes about religious things. Like, Shabbos is coming, or like we have to get the menorah ready. It's like lighting. I'm like, we're missing the whole point. Like, that's not what God wants. Like, we're supposed to be in peace, and if that means that we'll light 5 minutes later, so be it. Yeah. You know, that. Like, let's be clear.
But that's a really, Yaeli, that's a really unique thing that you were able to say that, because people live in marriages like that that perpetuate that challenge for 20, 30, 40 years or
also,
forever.
People that are listening could say that I'm 100% wrong.
That's
you know what I mean? Like, she's crazy. How could she have said that?
But let me answer your question. So the spiritual bypassing is what we like. I'm traversing that world of the field of abundance, of that like higher consciousness space. But I am working with people who, and including myself, who've been through real trauma. And the other side of spiritual bypassing is soul bypassing, right? It's like when we get so stuck in the trauma that we bypass our own soul and our own potential. So it's like, it's a very slippery slope. But the first thing that I would do in working with someone with trauma, and I want to hear what you mean when you say you know about trauma.
I know about trauma.
Is meeting someone where they're at, like really meeting them where they're at and assessing what their needs are in that moment at that time, and working with them from there. Like, we must go through our soul's journey. We must go through our process. We must go through our healing, unique healing portal, and it must be how it must be. And
right.
like,
and it needs to be felt. It needs to be flow through the body. You can't get stuck. Like, it really needs. And I find that, I mean, I'm sure this is like your MO, but like when I say this to people, they think it's weird. But like so much, I think that every single pain in our body is just trauma that's stuck.
Yeah.
Or unhealed processed emotions that are stuck. And it's like, well, I just fell yesterday, and I could tell you where I fell.
Right.
So how do you mean that that's just emotional? I'm like, no, that was triggered because that was stuck, and now it came out to the surface. You know? But people have a very hard time understanding that. Like, what are you saying? Like, no. I'm just in pain.
There are also people who have a very difficult, because they are in that trauma vortex that we're talking about, they have a very difficult time in seeing more creative perspectives to healing even. And that could be a barrier to entry for healing because people could say like, that doesn't make logical sense. Or that's difficult to understand with my mind.
Nothing makes logical sense. Even like when we cook for Shabbos, right? What's the secret ingredient? To say L'kavod Shabbos Kodesh, when you have intention. So everything's about intention. Everything's about the mind. Everything's about the unseen. It's all that makes life. So nothing really is logical. You know?
And there's so much difficulty for people in really being able to even get to the space where they can understand that there are other ways of healing themselves. There are other ways of looking at life. There are other ways of like moving through life.
Right.
You know?
And I find that a lot of times people don't want to hear any of this. They don't.
Is that your experience?
Yeah, like it's just too weird. It's too much. But they'll come and they'll listen when they're desperate. When all doors close, it's like, okay, what do you have to say? Like,
I guess it's a bit of a different experience for me because I'm doing this. So it's like they're either coming or they're not coming, you know, as opposed to like this is the work that I'm doing. These are the things that I'm talking about. And they're either like interested or not interested.
Right.
But I guess when you're being yourself and you're being multifaceted and you're talking about all kinds of things
right.
and including these kinds of things, then it's like people start to have opinions, it sounds like, on like what you should be allowed to talk about and what you shouldn't.
Yeah, but I really couldn't care less.
You couldn't care less.
No, I just put out whatever I want to put out, and if you like it, great. If not, okay.
Where do you find that inside of yourself? Like, where do you have you always been like that?
I've always been confident. I've always been like strong-headed.
Okay.
Like my mother used to say when I was very, very little, and like
strong-headed.
I didn't like to I wouldn't like to eat, but I didn't want to not eat because I just didn't want to make a fuss. So I would just eat and then go to the corner and spit it out. Like I had a mind of my own, but like I knew how to just like not make problems. Also.
You know how to work with the system.
Yeah, I could work with the system.
Yeah.
So
Wink.
I think I think that makes people always like it's like a little peculiar. Like they're like shocked. Like, oh, I thought you were this, and I'm like, no. Not really. Like, and then I think my father left when I was 12. That's the like raw, basic, like cliff noted version.
Yeah.
And that wasn't my trauma. Like it was living alone.
Cliff note, Sheba, cliff note.
Yeah. It was living alone after when he left with my mother, who was very stressed, overwhelmed. And so I just learned very early on that like I had no one to rely on. I had no one to lean on. So it was just me and God. But it wasn't even God. It was just like, yeah, it's going to work out. Like, I just always had this confidence. Like, yeah, no, that doesn't apply to me. Like, it's going to work out. I don't know. It was just always very positive. And like, when you're so at the bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. Like, you just, I don't know. It's just like, so I had this like confidence, but I was very insecure, and like that.
You were
very super duper. Like my thighs were always like jelly, but I never showed it.
The confidence masked your insecurity in a way.
No, the confidence was still confident,
still there.
I always knew who I was, and like I was always good inside.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I can't explain. I always was confident, knowing that things were going to work out for me eventually. Yeah. Like I would close my eyes and imagine my future, and I always saw this as my future.
Wow.
Like everything I'm living, I imagined it when I was little. Always.
Wow.
And I was always confident that like it was some level. Can't explain it. Like I just like had like ideas of what I wanted, and like I don't know.
You were born with a vision.
Very much so. Yeah. And like I always felt like I was like in a bubble. Like things were going on around me, but like I was in a bubble. Like I was sort of protected. I was always, even though I was sad, my energy was always happy. Mm-hmm. Like I was, like you look at pictures of me, I look sad. I was sad, and I was very like unseen and super duper, like, just not validated. And I was the scapegoat of the family, major black sheep. Even though I wasn't rebellious, I was just a black sheep because, like, I was saying weird things, and I'm weird, you see. So, like, my family couldn't handle it, and, like, I was just shunned for it.
You're
like,
pretty normal to me, but I understand.
I look normal. And so just very much, like, rejected within my own Dalit Amos, even though they'll deny it, it still felt like that all the time. And so in myself, in my inner world, it was very fertilized, super rich. I was always good, very happy, and just always optimistic and positive, knowing that something was going to turn around, something was going to be good. Like, I just always, and I would always, like, even, I never knew about manifesting, and it wasn't something that, like, I learned. But before I got married, I walked around my house with a tejol because I was like, I got to get ready. Like, I just, like, yeah. And then, like, they were like, Yaeli's literally crazy. I'm like, okay, like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So I had this, like, confidence. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. But still, I was very insecure. I was super insecure around my peers. I always felt different.
Yeah.
It was hard for me. I fit in, and, like, I was normal, but, like, it still was very hard for me. Like, I always felt just, like, weird inside. And I always felt weird because my parents were immigrants, so they're Israeli, and so automatically we were different. And my parents got divorced when I was 12, and not the divorce part, but, like, when I was growing up, it wasn't, like, a pleasant environment. I was just like, okay, I'm weird, I'm different, I'm just not normal.
And energetically, you were also unique.
Very,
right.
Yeah. So, like, I came here, I felt like an alien living amongst humans, and so it was very weird to be, like, in a group setting with friends. Even though I loved my friends, I loved going to school. I loved school. I didn't love the learning part, but I loved the social part. But I felt very rejected a lot, but internally, and it made me very insecure. And also, I had no stable ground. So when you have no grounding, there's no way for you to be secure. You're actually not secure. Right. I was actually not secure. Like, there was no father, and my mother was very stressed, and I was the oldest. So where is the security? Like, absolutely not. So that was how I came to be, I guess, like, this confidence and this not caring. Because at a certain point, you realize, like, okay, I went through everything by myself. Like, I did it, and I see it didn't break me. So, like, what? I'm going to care about your opinion? Like, that's what's going to matter to me?
It's the gift of the trauma.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, no.
No.
I really don't care.
Yeah, and it is the gift, it seems, like the gift of your trauma
100%.
In many ways. Like,
it's one gift. The other, another really, really good gift is I love the hypervigilance. Not the hypervigilance in bad, but when you really can come into a room and read it.
I'm so curious about this.
In 4 seconds.
Hyper-attunement.
Yeah, but it comes from when I was little being hypervigilant.
100%.
I had to know the second I heard that car pull into the driveway, like, okay, like, I would hear it from, like a deer in the forest. Like, you have to hear micro nuances. I would have to pick up on moods. Is she in a good mood? Is she not? Is she slightly, like, what's different? What's bad? Like, how could I make things better? How could I fix everything? Like, all these different, you have to, like, read the air all day long. Who's she talking to on the phone? What is this about? Is she going to come out upset? Not, like, where should I go? What should I do? How should I be? And I'm also the oldest, so being like, you have to take care of your siblings. So because of that, it really gave me a gift, this hyper attunement, insanely attuned. It's like almost like a psychic ability now, where I not only could, like, read rooms the second I come in, like, when I taught when I was in my previous life, like 10 years ago. And one day I substituted for my friend, and I came into the classroom, and, like, I summed it up, and then I called her after to talk about the girls and whatever. And, like, I told her every student, and she's like, how did you know? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I just know. Like,
this is your gift.
Yeah, it's a gift. Yeah. And it also becomes like I could feel people. I could just feel someone, send them a text like, how did you know? Like, it's that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the trauma that made the gift, or where the gift was always there that needed to be ignited through the trauma.
Yeah, and some say it matters and some say it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Right. This was your soul's destiny, and it needed to be triggered to come into action. And so it needed to come into action through this. Like,
I really appreciate you sharing that. Like, it's such a amazing thing when people know what their gifts are. It's such an incredible thing.
And it's also so amazing to know that, trauma is not always bad. And you could have, it's cool. I always had this, like, song in my head, this vision of, like dust everywhere and like mud and dirt, and eventually you pick it up and it's like ends up being like diamond dust and just like being everywhere. It's like we are.
This sounds like an art exhibition.
I know. You can just like, I know, I guess that's how my paintings come to be too. But like we are, everything you have in the end of the day could be diamonds. Like it's all for you. It's meant for you.
Yeah. And they're either like diamonds or diamonds in the rough. Like, and they get to get like polished and even it sounds like pulverized to create that dust.
Totally.
Wow. Yeah. I find that the masked, that part that made me, now thank God I'm on the other side of that, but part of my experience of hypervigilance and hyperattunement and hypersensitivity made that I was very connected to others, but I didn't feel that others really connected much to me. So it's like that feeling of like, everyone's like, wow, how'd you know what I was thinking? But like, I felt lonely inside, and thank God I was able to like move through that and heal that in a way that I have very close, like vulnerable, beautiful connections in my life. And I feel like I'm able to like see and be seen.
I love that. I love that you're saying this.
Yeah.
Because this is such a huge part. It's like a lot of times when we have certain traumas, we end up self-abandoning.
Yes.
And it's coming back to self. And
Yes.
it's like, you might not even be abandoned by others. It's just because you're self-abandoning, you're not seeing yourself, so there's a blockage.
Yes. And 100%. And there's this space where that's become that was one of my deepest pain points, right? That disconnection, that loneliness, but it's also become my greatest portal to be able to connect with others. And you know, people joke inside of my classes, they're like, how Rivky reads minds, or like that psychic thing that we're talking about. And I think we all are. I think we all are. And I think the more we move through our klipot, like the shells around our being, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, I can see it, I can feel 100%, it, that I'm preaching to the choir.
100%.
The more that we hear what isn't said, and the more that we experience what isn't necessarily made into form or into sound, and the more that we could actually read minds.
Yeah, and then, we just like rise. It's like a corkscrew. It just like goes to the top.
Yeah.
Totally. I know people are always like, yeah, I'm a Kobo. Like, what does he know? I'm like, he knows the same as you. He's just elevated and practicing and not blocked in the way that needs to be felt. Like he feels that. Yeah.
Yeah. And using his gifts.
Right.
Because we can have them but not use them.
Are you a Scorpio?
I'm not. I'm a Gemini.
Oh, cool.
Is that interesting to you? Or?
I'm saying you probably have Scorpio in your chart.
Yeah. Say more about that.
Because, no, Scorpios are usually the ones that are the most psychic. And they are the real, like, true. So, like, they could tap into, like, the energies. They could even tap into darker energies, but they feel things. So I'm sure you have some Scorpio in you.
And I definitely have quite a few Scorpio friends.
Yeah, I love Scorpios.
Yeah. What are your, like, people that you normally get attracted to? What are the signs that
It's funny. I don't know if I get attracted to them, but they're always around me. Pisces are always around me.
Pisces always around. Because you're an artist.
I love them. They're just like my cozy sweater. Like, I just like love you.
Yeah.
And then
and wear their hearts on their sleeves.
Yeah, I love my fire signs. I'm a Leo.
You're a Leo.
And Leos and Geminis get along.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
But like they're just fun.
Yeah.
Geminis are also fun. It's like I could just talk to Gemini for hours.
Yeah, I also love Leos because they have an aspect about them that they shine, and I love when people shine. And like, I love to lift up that shine. And I know there's all kinds of people in the world. And like, there are some people that grapple with like jealousy, and there are some people that grapple with all different kinds of things. That's not something that like, I have other things. Like, that's not something that Hashem gave me. And it's also something that I really work on, like to see the shine in me.
That's so beautiful.
And to create space for others. And I know that like, there's something about Leos that like really know how to take up space, and I find that to be such an attractive quality.
I love that. Right? Yeah. You have to be someone very confident and so happy to say what you just said.
And the truth is, and it feels so good to even be able, like, I could cry. It feels so good to even be able to say this on a camera. but I am.
That's amazing.
Like that is the truthiest truth, and like every part of me, like even like my inner child is like smiling right now.
That's
because
amazing.
It's like,
so that's your prosperity.
And that is the core of the abundance, like to be able to own the gifts that Hashem gives us, and to be able to like work our journeys so that it can work for us. And
I do want to say one thing about jealousy, though.
Tell me.
Because you just said the word.
Yeah.
It's a very basic primal emotion.
100%.
It's an emotion from the beginning of the Torah. It's from Cain and Havel.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. It's a simple primal. It's like love and hate. It's like fear. It's very basic.
It's blown out of whack in this.
But I think that we don't give it light. Like we give fear, love, and jealousy is just shoved under the rug, and it's such an ugly thing. We think it's so ugly that we can't talk about it.
Right, and
we can't admit it. But it's like it's okay to feel this way sometimes. It's just you
right,
you
but
could
what
just give it light.
happens is that when something's in the shadows, it grows.
Right.
And this is something that is shadowy. And when I say that I don't experience this much, it's not because I don't feel it, but because I don't let it rule my life. Like when I see something that I want that I don't have, and there are things in my life that I have not been blessed with yet, and that I do want.
Good, you're supposed to.
And like I go and create those things for myself, and I allow that feeling to move through me into action.
Amazing.
And I find that so many and I think a big part of me learning to work and alchemize with this emotion properly is because I've experienced the flip side of it, where I felt like others were jealous of me or triggered from the way that I move through the world, and how that made me desire to be small and not take up the space that I can, and that
you're supposed to.
That I am supposed to. And being able to learn to like see it and find it inside of myself and work with it. And also like similar to you, I feel so much resonance with you when you talk about like the confidence journey and the gifts and the trauma. It's like at some point we all have to look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, it's go time, and like and not care as much.
Right. It's go time, or you'll just be unhappy. Like I did. I wasn't fulfilled, and I was just like, if I feel this way,
were you living small?
Yeah, because exactly what you just said. Like I didn't want to ruffle other people's feathers.
Make anyone uncomfortable.
I didn't make anyone uncomfortable, and I'm like, you know what? F it. You're gonna be uncomfortable. I'm sorry. Either like take a seat or get a pair of sunglasses.
And I love that. And get a pair of sunglasses. And everyone's going to also experience. Whenever I teach a class, I always say like, chances are, guys, you're gonna hear something that I didn't even say. Because everyone experiences life through the lens of their trauma, their soul, their sign, right? Whatever way you want to look at it. We experience life through ourselves.
Right.
And what I am putting out is not it's not always going to be what you're picking up, unless you're like this really, really clear vessel, and we're all human. So
exactly.
So it's
true.
like, it's like so much. Like even as I'm saying it, I could breathe better because it's so much easier to breathe.
It's so true. Yeah. So I just felt like I kept myself small for so long.
Yeah.
To a point where I felt like I was sitting on myself, like I was going to burst out, but like
really?
I didn't let myself. And it was always this fear of like, people are just going to say, talk, think, be jealous, I don't know, make them uncomfortable. Also, that's a real thing. For someone who's like empathic and feels everything, you don't really want to make people uncomfortable.
And also, you know if they're uncomfortable.
Right.
You can feel it.
You can feel it.
You're not stupid.
In a second. Yeah. You can feel it even if they're not there.
100%.
You just know.
You could feel it even if they're in a different country.
Like energy's energy.
Yeah.
And it just travels into our bodies. And so, yeah, like it's like such a real thing, you know, and you just have to let it move through. Like you could feel an emotion, like what you said, if you could feel a certain feeling of jealousy, it's okay. It could just has to flow through you. Yeah. And then what are you going to do with it now? So now pick it up. It's usually a map. It's usually telling you what you want underneath it all.
Yeah. And there's energy here. Like any energy is good energy because it can be alchemized. It can be transformed. That
it's only
is our
not good
gift.
when it gets stuck.
Yes.
And then it just like, it gets like, what's the word? I don't know, rotten. It like gets rotten inside, and then like
I think of it like mold.
Yeah, it gets moldy inside you, and then like you just have this feeling of jealousy, and the jealousy turns into resentment and hatred for somebody, and like you just get this rotten part of you. But like and it just does nothing because you're not alchemizing the energy.
Yeah. And a lot of times also underneath jealousy, there's, I mean, I think our society in general is can have a really difficult time with grief and with rage, and those are emotions. I mean, rage holds our boundaries. It holds our life force. It holds our wild primal energy. It holds our sexual energy. Grief holds our compassion. It holds our kindness. It holds all the like water that can flow through us and that is inside of us.
And if you can't feel grief, then you can't feel for someone else.
Yeah, and sometimes jealousy is not even that, like when you, and sometimes it is, but sometimes.
But it's not real. It's not, you're saying it's just a mask for so much deeper things.
Yeah, sometimes it's a mirror to something that's like so much, you know, when I see something that I don't have, that I want, I might feel sad. If sadness wasn't that dangerous.
Meaning, because you're saying it's such a primal top level emotion that we can touch that, but then you can't touch the grief and the underneath rage that's under there.
Yeah, and in this world of quick fixes, it's like, you know, people come to me at the beginning, not at the beginning. Some people have been, whether it's on their own or with therapy or things like that, people come to me that are quite a bit into their healing journey often. Like that's normally the demographic that I work with, which means, especially in one-on-one clients, which means like people who are therapists or healers or practitioners or coaches or people who are like far along on their self-development journey. And a lot of times they'll come and they'll be like, I worked through this already. Like, why am I went to the ayahuasca ceremony. I went to somatic therapy for 3 months. Or 3 years or 12 years, you know, like, why am I still coming back to this trigger? And I'm like, why are you coming back to this trigger? This is your humanity. This is your soul's experience. Like, who told you, like, which industry told you that they can like take your soul's material and turn it into dust? That's like, nobody can do that.
Right, you're supposed to feel.
You're supposed to feel and you're supposed to work with it. You're supposed to use it. It's supposed to be for your benefit. Like we're talking about trauma as the gift.
Right, I guess so you're saying you're not supposed to be scared of it. Every emotion is a good emotion.
And if it can come back, then that means, again, like the never waste a good trigger, like there's more growth that you get to have. And part of the plan is forgetting. It's like forgetting, remembering, expanding, experiencing. That's the way that I think about it. And part of the plan is forgetting. We forget, right? Somebody yells at their kid. You forgot. We stayed small for too long. We forgot. We let ourselves be controlled. We forgot. It's okay. The point is that we forget and then we remember. But what happens is that when we beat ourselves up for forgetting, we never move into the remembering. It's like, so it's the same thing when I say, I shouldn't be afraid of my trigger, or I shouldn't be triggered anymore, that's what I meant to say, then we never get to move into, okay, I'm triggered again, and now I have the opportunity to remember. And I think a big part of our healing work is also like a reframing around what healing even is.
Exactly.
Does that
makes a lot of sense.
You? Yeah.
Right. Like it's not about removing. It's about learning how to just move through.
Yeah, like integration over like removing. And a lot of times people are like, take this out of me. And it's less about it coming out of you and more about like that word again, that renegotiation. It's like, this is, you know, if someone's been sitting on frustration for 12 years or 20 years, the longer they've been sitting on it, the more prime the real estate is for that to move into immense power. Because under frustration could be rage, and with that rage can come a tremendous amount of creativity. And if we can learn how to channel energy, and to learn how to be the steward of our own energy, we have a whole different, we have so much more life to play with.
Right. And then I think the end of the day is just knowing, like, if you face it, nothing's going to happen. Like, you're not going to die. It's not as scary as it sounds. And it's okay. Like, it's okay to just be human. I think people just have a very hard time wrapping their head around it. Like, but what am I going to find? Nothing. You're just going to be human. You know?
It's okay to be human.
Right?
Yeah.
This was amazing.
I really enjoyed this conversation.
I can talk to you for like another 2 hours. This is amazing.
Should we go for lunch?
Seriously.
This was really nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. Do you want to tell everybody like where they could find you and retreats info? I'm sure people would just love to hear about that.
Absolutely. I'm looking at the camera now.
Yeah.
You can find me at rivkygross.com. It's Rivky with a dash. You can look up my website. You can find me on Instagram at Rivky Gross. I am going to be running a retreat in November in Italy.
It's amazing.
I am super, super excited about this. This is a very curated group of women. There are also many other offerings that I have for like more people than this.
It's all on your website?
Everything's on my website. All the offerings are on the website, and
check it out.
Check it out.
Check Rivky out.